After 3. 1, 2, 3.
We're passionate about music at Dacre Braithwaite. We enjoy it, and when the children perform, it's with immense pride that we can watch them. We think it's very important that every child is given the opportunity to learn an instrument. We buy into the Wider Opportunities programme, so every child is able to play an instrument from year 3. We're actually very lucky, even though we are very remote. We've got a number of peripatetics who come to us. We wanted to take part in this programme because we feel that in the future it could become trickier.
I was quite apprehensive about how we were going to make it work and how I would cope with the technology and quite what it was going to entail, but actually it was much easier than I was expecting, and it worked really, really well.
You can actually fit all the other areas of Yorkshire into North Yorkshire. So for us there are real challenges about sending staff out to the small rural schools, which could be miles and miles away and hours away, in fact, in terms of travel. The cost implications are huge. What we're looking at is a model that is more sustainable given the financial pressures that music hubs are under.
Connect Resound is an action research project that's looking at how music education can be improved for children living in rural areas by using digital online technologies.
Hi guys, have you got your music with you? Brilliant, right, pop that up onto your stand. Do you remember the C that we started with last week? So we've got our 3 fingers and then thumb at the back. That's it. Right, so nice big breath and let's have a C. Okay, off you go.
The pupils accessed the instrumental tuition during the project virtually, so they were based within their own schools, whilst the music tutors were based at the Music Service Centre in Harrogate, and they use a mixture of different technologies online, so Skype in some instances, and also an audio and video mixer to offer multiple camera angles in some cases to add a greater depth of experience to the tuition.
What we've found in our project is that children are quite happy to receive instruction online. They're used to looking at a screen, they're used to participating with a teacher who's remote, who's away from them and physically present somewhere else. It's not such a massive hurdle, and the benefits are considerable in terms of how a music service or a music education organisation manages its time and its staff, and the costs involved in delivering music education to children in remote areas of the country.
I think what the research project does is it gives another model of how music education could be delivered. Some of the teachers were initially very enthusiastic about having the technology, those that were already engaged with using different technologies, different software, so things like sequencing and things like that. And then other teachers that were a little bit wary because maybe they've spent a long time delivering just face-to-face lessons. What we discovered is, and we did this quite deliberately through the research, we took a snapshot in their first lesson of how they went about it, and then we went in again after 6-7 weeks time to see how they were coping with the technology. We found that even the teachers that were very new to using the technology and were a little bit wary at first had actually adapted very well and were using the technology very successfully.
It's a model that has a lot of potential. There are some issues with obviously the technical side of things, because not every school has fast broadband speeds, and therefore we need to look at that, and we need to look at how we can work within the limits that schools have. But certainly I think there's an awful lot of potential for it, particularly where we have schools that have little access, and I think it's a great way of getting them started. And I think a sort of combined model of maybe a teacher visiting and then doing 4 or 5 weeks over the internet and then going back and visiting is something that we're quite excited about.
So the young people who've been involved in this project have not just received instrumental tuition, they've also been able to access high quality live music performances through live streaming. So we've been able to bring to them performances from North Yorkshire festivals like Musicport and Harrogate International Festivals, actually into their classroom by them logging on to our partner's website to watch it. And we've also tried to make those performances interactive. Another live event that we broadcast was an event focusing on recording, led by Hope and Social from their recording studios. And that was really useful because they took the online audience through the process of laying down a music track and recording it. So it's a really useful insight into really the music industry from that point of view, and not something that you might be able to experience whilst in school normally.
The children were very excited to be involved in the programme. The staff identified a group of children who we thought would benefit from the online learning, and they really flourished with the support from the music department and Mrs Bradley, our teaching assistant, who supported them through this.
The children were much more focused. I noticed the focus was far greater from the children on the online lessons than I've noticed in the face-to-face lessons, but partly because they had to really listen for the call coming through on Skype. It wasn't always quite as clear as it could have been, but that meant that they had to really listen and concentrate on what Mrs Calvert, their teacher, was saying to them. It's an approach that's well worth investigating for any school if it means that the children in the school are going to get the chance to learn a musical instrument. And if this is the way forward, then definitely I would recommend having a go.